One of the most interesting spots for the Oklahoma Sooners in this 2024 class that, quite honestly, I just think it's not talked about enough, and that's going to be the offensive line for Oklahoma going into the 2024 cycle. And why is that? Because the Oklahoma Sooners could potentially have 5 to 6 players or more leave the offensive line this season. Definitely leave some holes where you definitely need to have some depth, and you're going to need to replenish talent. But before we dive into it and talk about who the Oklahoma Sooners realistically could be looking at and potentially be landing, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. Jump in the comments below. Let me know what y'all's thoughts are. Who do you think the Oklahoma Sooners take along the offensive line? Additionally, how many offensive linemen do you guys think they take? I'm going to give you 2 questions there. You guys can answer either one. But let's start off with the obvious. Four-star inside offensive lineman Casey Poe. We have talked about Casey Poe so often. You guys know that this is a guy that I think definitely ends up in the class for Oklahoma. And quite honestly, I think a guy that is really talented and is wanted by other elite programs. So it's important to note when we're talking about these players, look at the amount of offers the player has. And then additionally, I want you to look at who is offered the kid. And Casey Poe currently holds 22 offers from the likes of Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, Georgia, Oklahoma, and more. So he's definitely wanted by some of the most elite of the elite schools. That's important to note. But I like Oklahoma's chances here, and I'm going to continue to lean Casey Poe that way. But who are some of the other names that Oklahoma could potentially be looking at? Well, some of the names that maybe you're not paying attention to. Well, the first one is going to be the offensive tackle, 6'5", 265-pound kid, Weston Davis out of Beaumont, Texas. Now, why is this one significant? Well, Weston Davis already has an official visit set up with Oklahoma for June 9th. Weston Davis is the 171st ranked player in the country, the number 12th player at his position. Again, a guy that is coming in with 22 offers. Now, right now, a lot of people believe that this recruiting battle is coming down between Texas A&M, LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, and even USC. So I gave you that list. Obviously, you understand the kids being recruited by elite schools. I think if you, depending on what site you look at, I think some people have him leaning Texas A&M, but Weston Davis coming in at 6'5", 265 pounds is a guy that could play a little bit of bully ball for you right up there in the front. And the reason why I want to express the important need of replenishing your offensive linemen in this class is because you have a 5-star quarterback in Jackson Arnold that you're going to have to protect. So you're going to need to go out there and get the best of the best to protect your prized quarterback. Weston Davis also has an official visit set up with the Aggies on June 2nd, an official visit set up with LSU on June 23rd, and an official visit set up with Alabama at June 16th. So realistically, we can assume it's going to come down between those 4 schools, maybe USC. USC just offered him, though, on April 28th, so they might be coming in a little bit too late to the game. But Weston Davis is a guy that has been climbing through the rankings and a guy that you guys definitely need to be paying attention to, especially with that official visit already set up. Additionally, you can look at a guy like Jason, and I'm hoping I see this last name right, Zandamela? He also has an official visit set up for June 9th. So here's what I want people to look at here. You have 4 official visits set up for June 9th. 3 of those are all on the offensive line. So these guys that are coming in, they're going to know, or they're going to kind of have an idea for the feel of if there's going to be a spot open, who's going to be a take and who's not going to be a take, who's interested in the position, who's not. But Jason out of Clearwater, Florida, again, a guy that has 33 offers. Let me repeat that. 33 offers. The 135th ranked player in the team, or in the country. 6'3", 285-pound inside offensive lineman. Currently has his commitment date set for July 6th. 3 teams you need to note here: Florida State, Oklahoma, USC. Now, you can imagine the kid being from Florida State being in that top 3 here, probably going to lean a little bit more to that Florida State side. Oklahoma, Bill Bedenbough, getting an official visit could potentially put them at a leader here. I think it just depends on if Bill Bedenbough really wants Jason. Will he commit on that visit? Something we will have to find out. Maybe move his commitment date up a little bit. When you look at where Jason's been on the recruiting trail, as Brandon Drumm, now with Rivals, has always said, and I love this, follow the visits. 2 visits that have been registered on 3. USC, Miami. So the kid's still got some visits to take. But both on 3, 247, both have him leaning to the Florida State route. Definitely a battle you're going to have to face there. But additionally, you're going to be getting Marquise Easley on campus. I believe it's on June 16th, if I remember correctly. No, June 9th, along with the other guys. Marcus Easley is going to be, I don't think he's going to be a take. Just in all honesty, I think this is in Tennessee, an Alabama, or Georgia win here. I don't think Oklahoma gets the win. I think it's just nice to get the kid on campus. But a guy that I definitely want the Oklahoma Sooners to win, Bennett Warren, the 6'7", 330-pound offensive tackle out of Sugar Land, Texas. Whew! Yeah. Now, here's the thing about Bennett Warren. 34-plus offers being recruited by literally the best of the best offensive line coaches in the country. Currently the number 164th ranked player. Currently has a crystal ball in from Brian Perroni on 247, but it's a 2. It's a low. Right now, this is shaping up to be a pretty big race between quite a few teams. You got the Texas A&Ms of the world. You've got Auburn, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Oregon, Oklahoma, Michigan, Florida, Florida State, Texas, Kyle Flood at Texas. Remember, Kyle Flood landed all those 5-star offensive linemen in 2022. So we'll see what he's able to continue to do there. Wasn't a strong 2023, but it's kind of hard to follow that class up in 2022. Bennett Warren, a guy that I think you definitely have to get in the class if you are Oklahoma. He's got the size. He's got the ability. Multi-sport athlete. Already has an official visit set up with Oregon as well on June 23rd. Definitely something you guys are going to have to keep your eyes out for. Bennett Warren. Keep your eyes out for him. Grant Bricks is another one. Inside offensive lineman, 6'6", 277 pounds. Listen, I don't know where this one's going to be. You've heard that this is going to be a weird recruitment. The kid keeps it locked down. But if Oklahoma is able to go out there and get a guy like Grant Bricks, probably got some of the best talent in the class in terms of an inside offensive lineman. But ultimately, the question is, will Nebraska, will Iowa, will a K-State end up pulling this one out over Oklahoma? Now, those are just a few names. There are quite a few offensive linemen in this class, like an Eddie Pierre-Louis from Tampa Catholic. You've got Liam Andrews, who has actually been here on campus from Brookline, Massachusetts, not Brooklyn. You've got Daniel Cruz from North Richland, Texas. He's been on campus as well. And then for the offensive tackles, you're going to have Max Anderson, where that looks like it's potentially leaning to be a Tennessee-Michigan battle. And then we've talked about Weston Davis. We've talked about Bennett Warren. We've talked about Grant Bricks. Michael Uni from Copperas Cove, Texas. Andrew Sprague from Kansas City, Missouri. Oklahoma lost out on him to Michigan, but potentially on flip watch there. So definitely want to keep your eyes out. Now, there is an offensive line prospect that I think Oklahoma could potentially be in for that a lot of people don't know about. And that's going to be Zina Umeozulu's brother. I believe his name is Nito. And he plays at the University of Texas right now. I believe Oklahoma is going to be in good position for Zina. Zina is a former teammate of Michael Hawkins. Zina plays the edge position, so defensive line. That's going to be a take for Oklahoma if Zena wants to come here. I think he's definitely a top 75 player in the country. I can't remember if he's still top 30 or not. But Zena Yumio Azulu has a brother, Nito, that is playing currently at Texas. If you get Zena here, potentially watch Nito to hit the portal and maybe come to the University of Oklahoma. Just something to keep your eye on. But Oklahoma potentially could be losing definitely 5 guys out of the program due to graduation. Could be looking at a guy like Tyler Guyton hitting the NFL draft, depending on how he progresses this season and how he develops. And then you've got another guy that could potentially hit the portal, just depending on how he feels, depending on how he plays. But you're bringing in guys like Jacob Sexton, Caden Green, Joshua Bates. Oklahoma is going to be fine in terms of young talent, but going into the SEC, you want to be able to replenish that as much as possible. This is going to be another year where Oklahoma is going to have to take guys out of the transfer portal for the offensive line just because you're losing so much experience depth through graduation and, through the NFL draft. But that's just what Oklahoma does best. But guys, go ahead, jump down in the comments below and let me know what y'all's thoughts are on the offensive line here, because there are definitely a couple top tier prospects. And if it's in my opinion, I want Grant Bricks, I want Casey Poe, and I definitely want Bennett Warren. Those are the top 3. So jump down in the comments below. Give me your guys' picks. Who do you think the Oklahoma Sooners take at the offensive line position? Additionally, how many offensive linemen do you think they take?